Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Debsy, and the place to be, it's Debsy. Bloop, that's me. Boop, Debsy. Hey guys, and happy Wednesday. I hope everybody is having a great Wednesday, and if it's Wednesday, then you know we wear pink. And so it's Wednesday. I only have 2 more days, and then I am off for a week. So last night was Real Housewives of New Jersey, part 3 of the reunion. I watched it. So let's get into it. Let's talk about all of this. We started off the night once again, Andy asking about Louis' creepy, really weird comment about him sleeping in Nonal's pajamas. Like, you said that you wore a dead guy's pajamas. Wasn't that a little creepy? And he did this all night long. But Louis then said that we misunderstood. It came out wrong. We must have misunderstood, and it came out wrong. Here, let me fix it by telling you what happened. I didn't wear your dead father's pajamas. I instead saw some sweats from your dead father, and I wore them. Which is the same thing. I didn't wear them. Let me clarify. I wore sweats that were his. Listen, it sounded creepy the first time you said it, and it sounded creepy the second time you said it, because it was creepy. But they did bring up Frankie Jr. Remember how last week, maybe was it last week, during the season, near the end of the season, it was brought up that Frankie Jr., who is fine, worked for Louis. And then all of a sudden, Louis' business went under, and bam, he didn't get anything. He was just out of a job. So Andy had asked what had happened. And before anybody could say anything, Dolores kind of interjected and said that that's it. She doesn't want it brought up. She doesn't want Frankie Jr., her son, brought into this cesspool that is this reality TV show. She just didn't want him brought up. She said that Louis and her son have a great relationship. She thanked the Louis. Now, I get this, why she said it. I mean, my first thought was that she just didn't want her kid brought up into this. I get that. I was hearing a lot of people were saying, well, wait a minute, why is she so thanking Louis so much? Like, is she afraid of Louis and Teresa? I don't know, but another option is maybe that Frankie Jr. has a good job now. I believe I thought I had heard someplace where he has a good job in New York City, and maybe she just doesn't want his name put out there. And then that maybe taint, or I don't want to say taint. That would maybe, I can't think of another better word to say. That might, color how his current employer feels about them. And I mean that maybe they don't want that negative attention. It could be any one of those. I'm sorry. If I'm going to say the word taint, there's no way that I'm not going to turn into a 12-year-old boy and not laugh hysterically. I'm sorry. So all of that was going on. And then the man of the night stepped up. I never thought in my entire life that I would say that the man of this reunion was John Fuda. Listen, John Fuda stepped it up, didn't step down for the entire episode. I'll love him for that. John Fuda asked him, well, why'd you have me investigated? To Louis. Louis says, no, I didn't do that. That was not me. John then said, Bo Dietl's friends are subcontractors that he knows. And a private investigator reached out to the prison, because you can't just contact someone in prison. And those people used a number to look up people in the system. That number was then traced back to people that work at Bo Dietl's. Louis once again says he didn't do any of this, and then talk went to the comments of him saying Bo Dietl has a file on everybody. Bo Dietl has information on everybody. Louis then once again did this whole thing of like he lied. This whole thing of lying. That's what it was. He basically said he misstated out of anger that Bo Dietl has all of this information. He said he just misstated it. He was just angry, and he doesn't have information. He didn't go to Bo Dietl about anything. So he said that he misstated out of anger during the party. But the funny thing is, the next day he said it again about Bo Dietl. Bo Dietl has information on everybody. Now, listen, maybe he's talking semantics. Maybe he didn't actually hire someone. But follow me on this. He's saying Bo Dietl is one of his very, 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 very good friends, was at his wedding. So who's to say that he wasn't just like, he didn't hire him? What if Bo Dietl just as a friend was like, sure, I'll investigate him. I mean, and maybe Louis was like, that would be good, because he absolutely has a dirty, filthy closet. We all know that. There has to be at least more than one skeleton out there in Louis's closet for him to have to go through and have all this information that he's keeping in his side pocket. So then production called, and Andy had said somebody from production called because there was some kind of security guy downstairs. Apparently, Louis said Bo Dietl hired a security guard because apparently, allegedly, him and Teresa have been receiving death threats. Do I believe that they're receiving death threats? I don't. If there are, none of this happened. You never heard of any death threats when she was with Joe Giudice. So the problem here really is Louis. And Teresa then had made the claim that Margaret is talking to the person who's harassing Louis. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. And then Louis starts with something that he carries on through the whole show. He says to Margaret, because Margaret says something like, we have information on you, or something like that. And Louis says, let's play. Like, not in a ha-ha, let's play. It's that kind of a veiled threat that he puts out there all night long. Either we'll see, or you'll get yours, or, let's play, or I know everything. Like, what does this mean? What are you gonna do? They then talked about Pizzagate and about Manzo's husband. Listen, I didn't pay a ton of attention when they were talking about Pizzagate, just because I'm kind of done and over with. In regards to Dina Manzo's husband, Louis claimed that Dina's husband is going to sue Joe, and Joe was like, "What? We've literally never heard anything about this." So they started talking about Jacqueline Loretta and how all of a sudden, Teresa is standing Jacqueline Loretta after, calling her a bitch and all kinds of things, saying she doesn't believe anything she says and this and that. They also had gotten into talking about the FBI. I did not know this. I had no idea that Frank Catania was Joe Gorga's lawyer. I had no idea that he was a lawyer. I don't know anything about Frank Catania, but Frank had said that Joe Gorga was called by the FBI to go and talk to them about Joe Giudice. And without any hesitation, Joe never went to talk to them. because Joe had said he didn't go to talk to them because if Joe Giudice went to prison, then that would just crush her. So he didn't talk to them. And then of course, I don't know where this came from, but Teresa has to scream out that Margaret is the one that ruined their family. Margaret. I don't have no idea. There's no accountability whatsoever. Absolutely none. And if we're talking about who put you in prison, Teresa, that would be you. Because from what I understand, the judge was going to not give her time. And allegedly, her and Joe Giudice were not forthcoming with all of their information. So that's why she got time at camp. That's why she got prison. That's why she got time at camp. So, I mean, listen, he committed mortgage fraud. You signed the papers. You weren't handing over everything you had. You helped send yourself to prison. That's it. That was that finger. See, that was that finger. Then Andy had a question for Joe Gorga, and he asked him, do you regret not going to the wedding? There was no hesitation. Joe said no. And then they got into the discussion of Louis telling him about Melissa cheating. And Joe said, Louis lied to me about Melissa cheating. And then Louis says, I didn't say she cheated. Louis says he called Joe to tell him about the rumor before it came out so he could get ahead of it. And then Andy had a question, well, why wouldn't you invite Melissa over? And he says, oh, well, it's an oversight or something like, oh, I didn't even think about it at the time. I'm so sorry. Because I would believe that, right? And Joe had said that Louis had said that apparently there's the rumor that Melissa is cheating with multiple men. Louis said, no, I didn't. I didn't say that. And then Melissa had said, well, I had heard one of the names of the supposed men that I was cheating with. They said, well, say it. So she said it. It was bleeped out. And then Teresa admits, oh yeah, that was another rumor. So listen, you're caught in it. You obviously did say that. Then they brought the kids into it because the whole comment of Melissa not being good enough for Joe was brought up. Teresa said she never said that. And let's call Gia and see if she actually called you and said that you can do better than Melissa. And so they called her up. Listen, I kind of felt the same way as Joe. If you call her, what's she gonna say? She's not gonna go against her mother. So they called Gia, and Gia says she called her uncle to really beg him almost to walk his mother down, his sister down the aisle. And she did not say that she said, I did not say that you could do better than my aunt Melissa. It's kind of odd. I picked up that she called him Zio Joe, and she called her Aunt Melissa. I don't know, semantics. Like I thought, maybe there's not that closeness between the two of them. Well, this kind of got me a little bit because they kind of always were like, we're not going to bring, Melissa really doesn't bring her kids into it. But then you bring Gia into it. I have to tell you, I don't know. I don't know if I believe Gia or not. Teresa then, because Teresa then starts crying and storms off, running away, followed by Louis. Anytime things aren't working out for her, she just has to have a meltdown and scream and cry and run away. So, I mean, that's how it always is. But backstage was kind of telling because Andy went backstage and was talking with the two of them. Louis said that Louis came up with this. Now, I don't know if he was just trying to cover up for Gia and make like a, plausible thing that she could have said, like a lie or something. I don't know. Louis said that when Gia said you could do better, he meant that you, Joe, could do better for her mom. That's what she meant. Not like you could do better with somebody other than Melissa, but you could just do better for your sister, for my mom. I don't know. Was it a cover up? Was he trying to cover up for Gia? I don't know. And then before they go out, Andy apologizes to Teresa for yelling at her. Listen, you should have yelled at her because he should have yelled at everybody because everybody at one point was just talking over everybody else and you couldn't hear anything. So before the guys leave, Teresa basically says, there's nothing else I want to say, we're done. Joe comes out with something really nice and had said that he still loves her. He's never going to say never. If something were to happen, like if she were in a car crash or something, he would immediately run there to be by his side. And then Teresa, of course, has to say, well, just like our dad would say, honor me now, not when I'm dead. And then she has to scream, honor me, honor me. Well, doesn't it go both ways? I mean, listen, I'm not saying that the Gorgas are completely innocent in this. I'm sure that there's some shit that they've done. But I mean, Teresa has done nothing. I don't know about that. And just honestly, the look that Louis gave when Joe was saying his piece to his sister, to me, like it wasn't even like it was like a I won look. Like, I won. You're out of her life, and now I have control. Telling you, he's a dangerous individual. I'm just saying that. He is a dangerous individual. So before the guys leave, Louis went over to Rachel and said that I respect you for what you did for your son. And she said, well, thank you very much. He went over to John and he was like, I'd like to be friends. And John Fuda said, until you admit that you had me investigated, no. And let me tell you, he had that big, thick manila envelope that was thick. Andy needed to find out what was in that. We needed to see what was in that manila folder because John Fuda came with receipts. I'm going to tell you what, that's going to be interesting next year to see John Fuda go up against Louis, because if anybody can, it's John Fuda. And I was a little bit kind of disappointed that Frank Catania folded so quickly against him. Like he was all up in arms about a smear campaign and this and that against us. And then in the end, he's shaking his hand. Listen, MVP of this episode, John Fuda. I'm going to tell you that straight out right now. That's it. Which makes me think, what kind of dirty closet does Frank Catania have if he folded that quickly? I'm just saying. And there were people that were there that didn't actually need to be there. Like Danielle and Nate, they didn't need to be there. Margaret's husband, he didn't really have to be there. And then at the end, they had pizza and Irish whiskey. So I would have loved that. So tell me, what did you guys think about the reunion? And I enjoyed the reunion more than the season. That's what I'm saying. I think tomorrow I'm going to go over some things that I saw in the after party. So that's going to be tomorrow because I'm headed upwards of 20 minutes on this. So Tell me what you thought about it in the comments. Who was your favorite last night? And with that being said, if nobody told you yet today, I love you. You're loved, seen, and heard. Please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, and positivity out there in the world. Looks like a bird flapped in my hair. And treat everyone with kindness and how you want to be treated. And I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.